especially higher level kids. And by that, I mean like U15 and above, double A, who would probably do extra, but, their whole team wasn't doing it. It'd be 3 or 4 kids from each team. And not only are those kids they're not getting hurt. So that's great. Like they're not losing any game opportunities there, but they're so much further ahead. And it was interesting because I remember when I first started doing the workouts, like, we can all use it as an excuse. Oh, we're not fit and COVID. Well, like I was doing all this stuff in the yellow garage. Like there's no running track. So it's just and I think that ties into the mentality. It's like, oh, it's COVID and I can't do this and I can't do that. And, I get it. If it's minus 30 outside, like you're not going for a run and not everyone can afford a Peloton, I get that. But it's interesting. You're right, Tom. Like, so even at the minor hockey level, and I don't know, Mike may be seeing it too, but the amount of injuries and not, I know we talked before about like catastrophic injuries or like, collision injuries, like just backs and groins and hip flexors and shoulder and things that are
nagging ones.
Yeah.
It's funny because I think I saw that. I don't see it much on my team because I had like the group of kids that I work with, like about 19, 20 kids. And all those kids had to be, we did 4 days a week of something anyway. Like there was some kind of activity, even during COVID, just that they had to log in, do something. They didn't need a treadmill. They didn't need a bike. It would help if they did, but they had to do some kind of activity. But I think what I was seeing when the kids got released back into the hockey world, they almost wanted to make up for a year of no training and do it all in like a week. And I think that's where some of these kids have gotten hurt, where they just overtrained trying to catch up. Like you can't do a year of training in a week. I don't know if the parents and the kids, understand just the physiology of gaining muscle back and gaining stamina back. And you can't just go out and say, okay, well, like it's like all of us, right? If you go out and say, oh, I'm going to get in shape January 1st and go for a 7-mile run, and then you can't run for another week and a half. So I think
when you say they're overtraining, you mean overtraining like in the gym or overtraining?
Mostly on the ice. They all all of a sudden they're on the ice for like like I've seen coaches like, oh no, I got 2 hours of ice for this kid. I go, 2 hours. I said, maybe like, 40 minutes. Let him go. And then let him go for a run or let him go for, they can stick handle at home, but you're going to put them on the ice for 2 hours a day thinking you're going to catch them up. And that's, I think I don't see overuse injuries. I see those little nagging injuries, the groin or the kid's back or kids having trouble with his joints, or especially for me, I work with mostly teenagers. So, those 12, 13, 14-year-old boys that are just, they don't know what the hell's going on and they're growing and then they're trying to overtrain within that window. It really makes it hard. Oh, sorry. Wally, I know you want to jump in there.
Oh, Wally, go ahead. Oh, maybe Wally's waiting for us.
Yeah, well, he raised his hand. That's all. He has.
Well, I just wanted to say, like, this is for me, like, again, like I have the strength and conditioning background, and I remember doing every time I do High Performance One, like as a mentor coach or as a presenter, right? Like coaches don't necessarily understand periodization or, the on and off season, how to get in and out of it. And I think coming out of COVID, I had 8 weeks of summer training that I had U9 all the way up to U22, different groups. And we didn't even do any drills that had stopping and starting till the 4th week. Right. Like we started just linear and you kind of stop at the end, but like you're not transitioning. And then we started with like turning. And then we started with crossovers. And then eventually we got to stopping. And, I found those players when they got back with their teams, is like they took off like rocket ships. But to your point, into all the teams I work with, as soon as they got, into regular team skating or training camp, they're like, oh, we want to do like, these very complex. I'm like, dude, these kids haven't skated. Like they haven't skated with any kind of intensity.
My brown kid back that had labrum surgery. And, a week in, he wants to do like, cutbacks. I'm like, we got a long way to go, buddy. So we're going to, see me in another 2 months.
Yeah. Don't do a jab step if you haven't been on the ice. And we're going to be right in there. Like we're back on the ice on Monday. And, they really, Ontario say, okay, well, you have to practice for 5 days. You can't actually have a game the first day back. Like, gee, thanks guys. Big learning curve there to get us back ready. But of course, all the coaches are chomping at the bit. They got to shove their games in that they've missed, right? So all the teams I do skills with are like, oh, we got to work on this and this and this. And I know their kids have been skating, but they certainly haven't been doing anything intense or complex. You know, you go play shinny with your buddies, maybe, but if you're just skating in a circle around the rink at pleasure skating, you're sure not, you know, working on your tight turns. But I think we're going to see another, like, you know, all these kids that were hurt are now just, they're going to get hurt again because we've been off since, like, for, you know, almost a month here. Right. And that on and off again, it's, you know, it's, and now, like, oh, we have to fit it all in. Like, I'm not sure why we have to fit it all. I'm not, like, this isn't the Stanley Cup. No one's making billions of dollars here. Like, we don't have to fit it all in, but.
Well, everybody's delayed the same.
Oh, like, yeah. So like, they're like, okay, do we extend the season? Do we, I'm like, why don't we just play less games? Like, why don't we just do that? Like that could just be a solution. So.
Well, our league, what our league did is we only had, because nobody knew, they made the schedule up early, so nobody knew about COVID. So we've been on the ice the whole time, but we only played 3 games first half. Now we're playing 12 games second half, and you know, but we've been lucky enough that they didn't shut the arenas down like they did last year. But last night I have a skating coach. She played at U of A, and she did a fantastic job last night. If you go to that Facebook thing I have, Youth to Pro, I posted about 5 different things she did. And yeah, we've got to be on the ice the whole time. But now it's totally different because we're getting ready for games now. It was like a 4-month hockey school from September to December.
Right. That's great.
That's my happy place. I'll be honest, last year we never played a game, and I was like, could every year I coach be like this? But now that's why I'm not coaching a team, because I don't have to deal with any of that stuff. But the development piece is so key, right? And I actually do see there's some teams that last year, like us, never played, and now I just watch, right? I'm just an observer. But you can see the teams that really doubled down on development, and they went from, like, you know, in the junior league, like being a bottom 3rd team to a top 3rd team with the internal players, not like they pulled them from all over Canada. And it's, you know, these are kids I've seen for 10 years as they've developed. And it's the same players, just with like 25% more skill and usable skill, right? Like things that are impactful in the female game. So like, kudos to them. They really hammered it home and took advantage of it. And I think that's the mindset piece, right? You look at that extra development as a way to get better versus like, oh, I don't get to play games. And I think that's just having that correct mindset as a coaching staff or players makes all the difference. If you look at it as a negative, oh, we have to go to practice, versus, hey, I'm going to get an advantage here. I think that made a big difference for that. I don't know. There's one team here, like, I don't know what they put in their water, but man, they have really impressed. And I think that's awesome. Kudos to the organization for making it happen.
Yeah. And getting those kids and those girls to buy into whatever they decided they were going to do developmentally wise. I'm this close. So I have a 14-year-old, wants to play college. Maybe not, but he wants to play prep school at least. Right. So I'm this close to convincing him to take the year off next year and come up with a training plan. Like this close. I almost got him, but that game is the hook. Like if I could find a way to build in competition, like real competition within that, I think I could get him. But it's just like, we have a lot of kids. They're all kind of they keep thinking they got to do what the elite kids are doing, but they'll just never understood. If they stick that same path, they'll never catch